Hey everyone! Before we open today's file, please make sure to follow us on Instagram at d.s.radio, where you can find all the images that go along with today's case. You can drop us an email at contact.dsradio@gmail.com. You can find all of our socials in the Linktree bio on our Instagram profile, including links to merch. If you're feeling especially generous, you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/dystopian simulation radio, where you can get access to our exclusive Instagram page and make suggestions for upcoming episode topics that you would like us to cover. Speaking of Patreon, thanks to our Patreons, Riff Cult, Cropley Crab, Cash Broadus, Raspberry Jr., Jason R. Nelson, Creepy Paper, Jamie Sook, Michael Laughlin, Lindsay Keller, Mike Wright, Greer Weaver, Kelsey Carruthers, Linz Gibbon, Drake Holvig, Only Child, Michael M, Wesley Akers, Riaz K, Emily Medeiros, Pip, Heather Wynn, Graves, Devon Sweatshirt, The Ordained Sinister Minister, and Philip Hoffman. Hello everyone and welcome to Dystopian Simulation Radio. I'm your host Linz.
And I'm your other host, Chris.
How are you doing, Chris?
I'm pretty good. It's good to be recording again.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It has. We've been doing batch recording sessions, so
yes.
It's good to get some of these under our belt again.
Yep.
And it's one of your stories today. But before we get into that, just would like to say a big thank you for everybody for all of the support that we've had.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of people dropping us messages, commenting on our Instagram posts. We've had a few people who have donated some coffee to our coffee fund.
Yeah, shout out to Lucas.
Yes, thank you very much.
From Down Under.
Exactly. So we've got some great fans and great coffee and...
Cheers, Chris, and thanks again, Lucas.
Thank you very much.
Chris.
Yes.
Are you feeling hungry by any chance?
Always.
If you could eat anything right now, what would you like to eat?
Oh, I think I would like to eat a big bowl of ramen noodles.
Are you much of a meat guy?
I like my meat. Yeah, I like my meat.
You like your meat, huh?
Yeah.
I
like my meat.
Chris's big meat strikes again. So Chris, what's your favourite type of meat, you know?
Partial to some duck. I like duck.
Duck? Oh, really? I never took you for a duck.
You must be quackers.
Chris?
Yeah.
You're a duck guy, okay.
Yeah.
Much of a chef?
Yeah, but I've never cooked duck.
How about seasoning? What kind of seasoning do you like on your duck?
On a duck? Probably hoisin sauce.
Oh, now the duck makes sense to me. I was
yeah.
thinking you were going out UK farmer style with a shotgun and shooting one out of the sky. And
you know me and my massive gun collection.
So, Chris.
Yes.
I'd like you to look at a picture of a very special meal that I have for you here and describe it to the listeners and maybe take a stab at what you think each thing on the plate is, let's say.
Okay.
Okay.
It looks kind of like pig meat, like trotters or something. So we've got three images. The one on the left-hand side is cut open. There seems to be two pieces of pink, sort of raw meat or something inside of that one. The middle one is folded over and looks a little bit... This is what's reminding me of pig meat. It sort of looks like crackling or something along those lines.
Yeah.
And then the third one is on a fork. And there's something inside it. It might be mustard or something like that. So, yeah, that's what this is like. It looks like it's at a fancy restaurant, something along those lines. What type of meat is this?
What type of meat is this? That's a very, very good question, Chris. But I'm going to answer that in the form of a little story that I have for you here today.
Okie dokie.
Been researching this. It's something a story I heard of a long time ago. Never got in depth. I just, heard about it out there on the internet in the early days.
Okay.
So, without any further ado...
Wait. It's not meatspin.com, is it?
No, it's not Meatspin. Ow.
Lindsay got so excited by that she fell off her seat.
Tailspinned off my chair. Okay, no, it's not meatspin.com.
Don't Google that.
No. Okay, Chris, let's find out what the mystery meat is.
Okay.
On April 8th, 2012, a young man published a tweet advertising for 5 lucky customers to try a very rare and special dish, his dong and balls.
Oh. Ew.
The author of this strange request was a then 22-year-old Japanese man named Mao Sugiyama from Kanagawa near Tokyo, Japan. Sugiyama was an ex-chef turned artist who was looking for willing participants to quite literally eat his dick. The tweet read, "Please retweet. I'm offering my male genitals, full penis, testes, scrotum as a meal for 100,000 yen. I will prepare and cook as the buyer requests at his chosen location." So 100,000 yen today translates to around $850 US?
Yeah, that sounds about right. It's not that much money. It's more... Well, I probably cost my knob as a bit more than that, but...
What kind of price would you put on your wang? And balls.
Oh, and balls.
Balls too, yeah.
I think it's priceless.
Come on, how much would you sell your...
I mean, do I get it back at the end? If I get it back at the end, it's like...
Well, I don't think you'd get it back in the same condition that it was served up, put it that way.
Ew.
I don't think you'd want that back.
No, I wouldn't want that reattached.
Oh, would you like to see it again?
No.
No?
No. Definitely 100% not. I've seen it once. It's burned into my retinas. And I will never want to see it again.
I think the best thing, the highlight of my entire week is having you look at a picture of someone's cooked and dissected genitalia on a plate and going, looks like some kind of pig's trotters, perhaps some mustard in there. No, Chris.
Oh, what was that in there?
That was his testicles, Chris.
Wait, like the stuff that was coming out of it, was that like...
That was part of it, yeah.
It wasn't fried sperm, was it?
I don't know.
Ew.
You guys, if you can see Chris's face right now, it is absolutely beautiful, honestly. So, Mao Sugiyama had undergone elective genital removal surgery on his 22nd birthday at a private hospital in the Shimane Prefecture in Tokyo, and left with a doubled-up plastic bag containing his frozen penis, testicles, and scrotum. According to one article, a few days before he underwent the surgery, he applied caustic soda to his nipples to dissolve them from his chest. He initially intended to serve his nipples along with the genitals. However, he wasn't really able to salvage any part of them to be used in a recipe, as they essentially melted to his chest. He did manage to save one piece, but he had to toss it out when, to quote a blog that he had at the time, it became something rotten resembling blueberry jam. When later asked about his DIY nipple removing procedure, Sugiyama explained that it was the most painful thing he had experienced, and that he likely used too much solution or left it on for too long, resulting in it spreading and penetrating the flesh deeper than he anticipated. The pain, of course, was agonizing to the point where he almost blacked out, and he winces remembering the ordeal.
Lovely.
Chris, I have 2 images I would like you to look at.
Oh.
Brace yourself, Christopher.
I'm braced. Oh, lovely. That is, it's a plastic bag with an unknown object inside, but given the story that you just told, I'm going to guess it's his wang. There is clearly some blood in there as well, and I'm going to assume that's his own hand that's holding the bag there. And is this the doubled up plastic bag that he walked out with?
Yes, you are correct. It is the doubled up plastic bag containing his removed penis and testicles.
Lovely.
Yeah, so this is legit. This isn't one of those tweets that you'd see now where it's just some kind of obscure joke where people are like, oh, I'm going to castrate myself. This was a real...
Who the fuck makes jokes like that?
Well, these days people post like insane things and, we're supposed to know that it's a joke, but, people want to go viral. There's a lot of hoax stories.
True.
This sounds like it would be a hoax story. To be honest, I thought that I was going to go online, research it, and find out that it was a hoax. And that no one had ever done this, but this is legitimately... This happened.
And it had to happen in Japan, didn't it? It had to. It was either going to be Japan or Germany.
And it had to be in 2012.
Yeah, true.
There is no other time and place that a story like this would be accepted and believed. But 2012 Japan, yeah.
So this guy then cuts off his wang
Yeah.
and he's going to serve it up and he's put a price on it and everything else. Is he doing this at his own restaurant?
Let's find out.
Okay. Oh, and thank you. You've just showed me the lovely pictures of his ex-nipples. And yeah, he fucked that up, didn't he? Yeah, there's nothing to salvage to eat there. They don't even resemble pepperoni anymore. They're just rancid. Ugh.
Yeah, and that looks like it was absolutely agonizing, honestly, and I can't even imagine how long that took to heal.
No. That's not nice.
Sugiyama had spent 2 years researching a process called nullification before going through with it. Are you familiar with nullification, Chris?
No. I'm guessing at the etymology of the word. It's to do with either numbing or kind of making a part of your body useless. Is that right?
Partly. So gender nullification is classed as an extreme body modification wherein a biological male will have their genitals and often their nipples surgically removed. The nickname for a member of this extreme subculture is either a smoothie or nullo, which, as you probably put together, comes from the smooth appearance of the private areas post-surgery. Although nullos are mostly male, there are female members of the subculture, but rather than having their genitals removed, they have them stitched shut.
Right. So this is different from somebody who's having, well, it's clearly very different, but I mean, it's totally removed from someone who's transitioning from one gender to another. This is somebody who wants to completely remove gender from their own body.
This is completely different. So nullos are not transgender. Most identify themselves as eunuchs, as in a biological male or a person with a penis who has been castrated.
Right.
So according to reports online, Sugiyama's goal was to erase all sexual features from his body and walk around publicly wearing see-through clothes without facing any issues with the law. He essentially wanted to be a genderless being, smooth like a Ken doll, and had plans to remove all hair on his body and cover himself in white tattoos. So this is a quote from Sugiyama. He says, "I am a painter, and the act of painting does not require a gender. I don't want to be male or female. I want to be something more pure."
Okay. So this guy's kind of half chef, half artist.
Yeah, he was like an amateur chef. He liked to cook,
and
his favorite food to cook was waffles.
Okay.
As in the dessert.
Yeah.
Not as in like potato British waffles.
Yeah, no.
He didn't just defrost some waffles and go, "I am a chef."
That would be a very amateur chef. Bernard Matthews waffles defrosting slowly on the side. It's kind of a hobby.
Mwah. But yeah, he is an artist, I believe.
Right.
I don't know, like, pronoun-wise, what he's a genderless being now. I'm going to say he because at the time of the story, he was Mao Sugiyama.
Yeah.
And now, I did try and contact him.
Oh.
But I couldn't. He didn't respond, or maybe I got the wrong ad. So I did try and find out. But for the sake of just telling the story, I'm just going to say he.
Does he speak English?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Sugiyama was aiming for an androgynous aesthetic, like a painting, and after having his genitals removed, began taking female hormones and wearing a corset to achieve this desired alien look that he wanted. According to an article in Nippon News, Mao Sugiyama said that he hated the idea of love and sex due to a series of past events relating to close people around him becoming victims of sexual crimes. In an effort to free himself from mankind, he did this.
It's funny that he gave that interview of Nippon News, because I do know about Sugiyama that later he went on to found Nip Off News.
Oh my god, Chris. Like, that is really funny, but I feel like I can't laugh. You were looking at me with such, like, sincerity that I thought you had, like, first-hand news. And I was like, my eyes were so wide and I was like, wow, Chris has got something to add. And then you just make an awful dad joke.
I was trying to hold that dad joke in that entire time. For anybody who doesn't know, Nippon means Japan.
Yeah. And, nip off means when you use too much caustic.
Snip.
Yeah. So Sugiyama wanted to create beautiful art without the realization of being man or woman, excluding love and sex out of his system completely. Although, he did go on a month-long sexual adventure before the surgery.
Tell me more.
He identified as asexual.
Right.
So he had a lack of sexual attraction to others and a very low interest in sex in general. Asexuals represent around 1% of the population, and before he went through the operation, he wanted to make sure that he was making the right decision. So he went on his month-long sexcapade, wherein he slept with as many male and female strangers from the internet as he could. He did get a sexual health checkout afterwards before serving his penis to the VIP diners.
That's probably a good idea.
Yes.
Was he absolutely riddled?
No, he was fine. But the VIP diners were a handful of specially selected guests who had responded to his original tweet. The dinner was hosted at a place called Asagaya, or Loft A. Loft A is a live music venue in Suginami City, Tokyo.
Right, yeah.
The event was described as a must-see for cannibals and body modification enthusiasts, an event of the century that eats genitals. That was the translation.
Right. An event of the century.
That eats genitals. That was the direct translation. I just thought it would be funny to
Perfect.
So over 70 people showed up to this event, but only 5 got to chow down on Sugiyama's penis and testicles, which he would prepare and cook in front of them. Initially, Sugiyama intended to dine alone on his meat and 2 veg in an act of auto-cannibalism. However, he considered the cost of the operation, which he had undergone privately, and decided that he would make an event to pay for the cost of ongoing surgeries.
So which came first, the art or the desire to pay for this body modification that he's gone through? Because it's quite an interesting thing to do, to monetize something that you want to do. It's almost like if you wanted to get a tattoo, but you didn't care about its content, and you said whoever's the highest bidder can tattoo whatever they want on my arm type of thing.
Well, I think the art always comes first with Sugiyama. We can say that. But he'd always aspired to be this genderless alien creature. But yeah, I guess the cost came after, you know. He realized he had to keep paying, because it wouldn't just end there. The hormones he's going to have to keep taking for a long time. And whatever other modifications, the white tattoos that he wanted. So it's a costly thing, and you know, as an artist, he's not making that much money.
No, and if it sounds big when you lay it out like that, but 70 people turning up to an event, that's not a lot of people, really. I mean, if you were just monetizing it on attendance alone, each of those people are paying 1,000 yen.
Actually, only the diners are paying.
Okay, right. Well, what I mean is he's not, when you say he's an artist, he seems very much like a struggling artist, as opposed to, you know, Japan's Picasso.
Yeah, well, you know, not many people get to be Japan's Picasso.
No.
Usually you have to die and be dead for 200 years before you start.
Yeah.
Unless you're like, who's that guy? Damien Hirst or something.
Yeah.
Or Banksy. So there were supposed to be 6 people dining on Sugiyama's delicacies. However, 1 was a no-show. The 5 guests that did show up were made to sign a waiver stating that both Sugiyama and the organizers of the event were not liable if anything mentally or physically happened to them after eating the dish. The consumption of human flesh, including the flesh of a consensual donor, is by definition cannibalism, a taboo subject around the globe. So predictably, news of the event became a very controversial topic. So Chris, what kind of people do you think respond to such an advert? Take a stab.
Ooh.
So we've got 5 diners.
So, like, do you mean as in like their profession, like what they did, like their ages?
Yeah, you know, age, profession, anything. Throw something out there. Who do you think responded?
I'm gonna guess they were mostly male that responded. I'm also gonna guess that they.
Why male, by the way?
I don't know. I don't really know. I just have a feeling that, like. A gut feeling. I'm trying to think about what I know about this kind of cannibalism culture. You don't often hear of female cannibals that I know of, although I've not really researched this too much. But, you know, from the examples that I do know of, they've all been male. Thinking about what I know about Japan as well, just all the puzzle pieces just seem, it says male. You're going to tell me they're all female in a second. But, yeah, I'm going to assume they're all male. I'm going to assume they're on the older side. I don't mean like old men, but kind of like 40 plus. And I'm going to assume that none of them, I'm just kind of quite regular people who are sort of hiding an interest in either body modification or cannibalism or something like this. People who are prepared to go into the taboo area. Japan is often highlighted as this area where subcultures like bloom. It's not really the case. You'll find those places if you go and you really dig deep down. But as someone who lived in Japan for a long time, it's not like you just walk past a restaurant and it's like, penis for sale right now.
Damn it, I'm not going to Japan anymore.
So that would be just my guess, knowing nothing about this topic. Male, middle-aged, and probably generic people.
Any kind of special jobs or just office workers and such?
I'm going to guess some mainly salarymen. It wouldn't surprise me if somebody, if there was a tattoo artist or somebody who was into that kind of body modification scene already and perhaps wanted to push it to a further extreme. But I think the one difference is the cannibalism aspect. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that most people who are interested in modifying their own body are necessarily interested in cannibalism. I don't think those two things necessarily have any connection whatsoever. So, yeah.
All 5 diners were aged between 22 to 32 and were described in the media as a 32-year-old male manga artist who claimed to be there for research purposes, an attractive 22-year-old woman who just wondered what it would be like, a 30-year-old white-collar couple who were simply curious, and a 29-year-old event planner who submitted to FOMO, fear of missing out, and couldn't let such a rare opportunity escape him. Each of the diners paid around $250 for a VIP seat. Bargain.
Yeah. So wait, $250, and is that including the food, or?
I think so. Initially, he seemed to be asking for a lot more in the initial tweet, but according to an article,
he was open to negotiation.
Yeah. Well, I think he wanted one person at the beginning, and then he said, okay, a bunch of people can dine on it, but for the same price.
Well, as well, it's going to have to be nouvelle cuisine as well, because once you've fried up a penis and some balls, it's not going to be that much meat.
Well, you don't know what he's packing.
Well...
You just outed yourself, Chris.
You see, hey, you called my meat legendary.
Oh my God, you can't say that. Is it hot in here? Oh, okay.
No, we're just talking about my meat.
Each of the diners paid around $250 for a seat at the VIP table. The other guests were able to choose from a special menu of bull penis jerky, bull testicle steak, bull testicle soup, and grilled crocodile tail.
None of which are particularly readily available in Japan. None of those are endemic to Japan, really. I mean, bulls, I guess bulls maybe, but not crocodiles. So, yeah, I suppose he's going out of his way to get some unusual meats.
Very exotic. So if you missed out on the wang and balls, what would you choose from the menu? So you've got bull penis jerky, bull testicle steak, bull testicle soup, or a grilled crocodile tail. I think I'd go with the grilled crocodile tail.
I've eaten crocodile before. I had a crocodile burger once.
Fishy chicken.
Yeah.
Where did you eat that?
It was at a Christmas market.
Where?
Newcastle.
Oh.
Yeah, it was years ago when I used to work in the centre of Newcastle, and it was they had a stall right outside where I used to work, and there was, I think you could eat, I think it was crocodile burger, there was wild boar burger, springbok burger.
Springbok?
Yeah, they're like fabulous African antelopes.
Oh, okay, yes, I know what you mean.
And there was something else, can't remember what it was. But yeah, it was fun. It tasted like a little bit like fishy chicken.
Fishy chicken, that's what I've heard anyway.
So yeah, if I was going to pick one of them, I think to be on the safe side, I would go for the crocodile tail, but...
Ye old tried and tested.
Yeah, but... Yeah, if I was going to push out the boat, I guess let's
just go for the balls.
Yeah. Push out the boat, go for the balls. That's today's advice, everybody. On the day of the banquet, which was April 13th, 2012, Sugiyama showed up in formal wear before leaving to change into a silky chef's whites and positioning himself in front of a portable butane gas stove and a pan. A chef supervised the preparation and cooking process to make sure the correct procedures were being followed. Chris, any ideas how one would cook and garnish a dish such as this?
I would, well...
How would you cook your own wang and balls?
Probably salty from my own tears. What would it pair well with, you mean? Like, what?
Yeah, how would you prepare it? You've got your meat.
Right, I guess you'd probably fry in a pan and just kind of, give it a sear. And, you probably, it's probably a bit like a steak, where you don't want it too well done, you don't want it charred. You just want to kind of, make sure you get a bit of flavour on it. And then I'd probably pair it with a nice white creamy sauce.
Oh no.
Just for aesthetic purposes. And a garnish of pepper.
Thank you for that description, Chris. It sounds lovely. Sugiyama's expert opinion as an ex-chef was to marinate his wang and balls in red wine, season it simply with a sprig of Italian parsley, and serve it with the side of button mushrooms. He practiced the cooking technique on beef cubes prior to the event. You only get one chance to cook your wang and balls.
Did he know that beef would taste similar to a wang?
I think he just thought texture-wise it would be... But I don't think it's the same texture.
I don't know.
Well, you've got one, you spent a lot of... I was going to say time getting to know it, but I'm going to stop. You've lived with one, Oh, God. There's no way to talk about any. Yeah. Chris is just doing a digging kind of.
Keep digging that hole.
Each VIP diner received a small plate with a piece of the penis shaft, some testicle, and a slice of scrotum, complete with 3 millimeters of pubic hair growth.
Why?
That, of the entire story, the 3 millimeter of pubic hair growth was the bit that made me feel absolutely sick.
Is it because it specified the length?
Yes.
3 millimeters.
And also because we're about to take a look at the picture.
Oh, no.
Once again, so Chris can really absorb the descriptions I've just given. And now knowing what you know, you're going to look at the picture again and you're going to describe it to the listeners.
Oh, this is difficult to swallow.
That's what she said.
Whee!
So it's so much worse when you look at it the second time round, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, so I'm guessing that the middle and the far right picture, they're the balls, which are...
Penis, scrotum.
Oh, penis, scrotum,
testicle.
testes.
If you look closely on you can see the 3 millimeter hair growth, I think, there.
Oh, that's horrible.
That's
the wang itself is like...
Now you can see that it's a wang, can't you?
Yeah, and it's... Oh, God. Ugh. This is not great radio. So the one on the far left is obviously the penis, and it's kind of horrific seeing it like that. It's been sort of cut off at the base, and there's I don't know, are they blood vessels? What is that? I mean, that's not bone, right?
Cartilage.
Oh yeah, cartilage.
It's not bone, is it?
It's a boner, but. It just looks so sad, the way it's positioned. It's like, just kind of leaning off to the side.
It's very grumpy for what it's had done to itself.
Just saying, Sugiyama, dude, why? Yeah, so that is much worse. Right, this brings me back to my question. The far right-hand picture, the balls. The balls. What is that?
That's what's inside of you.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's gross to see it like that.
Right, thanks for this.
No worries. As soon as I saw the picture and read the story, I just knew that it was something I had to share with you.
Great. Thanks. So, what's next?
When the event organizer Matsuzawa attempted to pick up his slice of the penis with a fork, the utensil almost bent in his hand against the dense rubber texture of the cooked shaft. He said taste-wise, only the red wine that the penis had been marinated in came through, and that he spat it back onto the plate after a few chews. The scrotum wasn't much better. In fact, it was even more chewy and rubbery than the penis. The testicles had a lot more taste and texture to them, and he described them as hard on the outside and soft on the inside with a fish or chicken taste.
Oh, of course. Yeah, right.
The male diners were unable to eat the meal, but the female diners cleaned their plates and said it was delicious. So there is a way to prepare and cook penises and testicles properly, as you're probably aware. Yes.
I was going to say, like, there are some creatures that people do eat genitalia from.
Exactly. So as you're probably aware, there are countries that eat the bits and bobs of various animals. For example, in
horsecock.
What?
Horsecock. Horsecock. Eat that in France.
Oh, yeah?
I believe so.
Oh, well, in Indonesia, you'll find satay torpedo, which is goat testicle satay, popular amongst men who want to last longer in the sack by eating a sack.
Yeah, I can see that logic.
So they can be deep fried, battered, poached, sautéed, roasted, and so on. Usually they're prepared by being scaled and removing the skin before soaking them in cold water. I think this is something that Sugiyama neglected to do by the looks of the hair growing in the...
Yeah, well, if he'd kind of, done it in cold water, they would have been much smaller than it was.
Many nations have been known to chow down on a plate of balls now and again, including Canada, who prefer to deep fry their balls, which they call prairie oysters. You can find the same dish in the US, only with a slight variation on the name. They call it Rocky Mountain oysters, and just as in Canada, they use the testicles of bulls.
Oh, right, okay. It seems like bull testicles are quite popular.
I think they might be like a byproduct of, just castration and things.
Yeah, I suppose it makes sense. And also, like, the bull is like the symbol of fertility and stuff, so I suppose you can kind of...
I don't think the Canadians are eating it for fertility, but
Well, no, I mean, just how you can kind of make a connection between it, I suppose. Like, if
maybe in like Southeast Asia and stuff.
Yeah.
Because Vietnam also partakes in a similar dish, but they call it Nao Pin. And it's popular with men looking to enhance their sexual performance. So like you said, there's a sort of fertility aspect to, the consumption of other animals' penises and testicles.
Yeah, there's a through line going through this, which is kind of like... It's almost like that idea of like when you defeat your enemies, you eat them and
you rip their balls off.
you obtain their like powers,
their essence. Yeah. So Spain likes their eggs with eggs. They add testicles to omelets. Austria likes it in a stew. Hungary love a good rooster ball. Pakistan likes theirs goat based and mashed. Syria prefers sheep testicles grilled with a dash of lemon juice and a sprig of parsley. So there's another thing Sugiyama
You got it
right. You get the idea. Eating testicles isn't as uncommon as you might think. So there are ways of actually cooking them properly. So let's get to the reviews. The VIP diners sat
Reviews from Yelp.
Yeah, it's like 5 would go again. So the VIP diners sat in the middle of the venue and the other guests were surrounding them to view the testicle spectacle. When Sugiyama extended the mic to his VIP diners for a review of the dish, they described it as too difficult to chew with a hard rubbery texture. Matsuzawa wrote in a now deleted blog that the testicles had a sweaty odour to them, and said the presence of sperm was still very evident.
I mean, they're not painting a picture that makes me want to visit this restaurant, I've got to be honest.
It wasn't even a restaurant, it was a music venue that they set up with a little butane stove and a pan. So
I mean, we know from our own experiences that music venues are only sweaty hellholes at the best of times.
I don't want any part of anyone's sweaty hellholes. No, I know that.
Imagine Jerry only serving you after a gig. The amount that man sweated.
Since he was unable to finish the dish, he offered
a
slice...
Was that a problem they often have? Unable to finish.
God damn it, Chris. Since he was unable to finish the dish, he offered a slice of the penis to a male acquaintance who requested to try a piece. He met the man later that evening at the train station and said although he seemed happy to have tried the penis at the venue, he seemed to have an air of regret and admitted that he got swept up in the moment and felt negatively changed by the experience.
I suppose... Well, did he sign the waiver, though?
No, he just got offered a piece of it, and then apparently he was pretty upset at the train station. Like, I suppose some people would probably go, oh yeah, in the moment, like, I'm going to try it, I'll never get to do this again. And then maybe he left going, technically, I am a cannibal.
Yeah.
And I ate the penis of a man who... Was he going through some stuff? I don't know.
I mean, I've got some questions surrounding this, but...
Yes. Go ahead.
Well, the legality of it, because cannibalism is illegal. And
well, you say it's illegal.
As far as I know, it's illegal in Japan. I mean, but...
Is it?
I guess if you sign a waiver that says something legally, you can't be held responsible for it, and that you absolve people of any guilt of doing an act. I don't think that supersedes the law, though.
I was looking into this, and I don't actually think it's against the law to be a cannibal. It's the laws surrounding how you get to that part.
So kind of like the rules surrounding prostitution. It's not illegal to be a prostitute, but the act of purchasing sex is illegal.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, the steps you take to get there, that's the illegal part. But I don't think cannibalism itself, I don't even think in the UK. We can look that up.
Meat's back on the menu, boys.
Although Sugiyama made sure to comply with the law, he was charged with... Any guesses?
Ooh, I'm gonna guess it's something like gross public indecency or perversion of...
Indecent exposure.
There you go.
Yeah. A couple of months after the event, he was accused, along with 3 others who helped organise the event, of conspiring to display genitalia to his 71 guests.
I mean, you've got to remember as well that this is Japan, which has extremely strict laws surrounding genitalia. I mean...
Yes.
The porn of Japan is constantly blurred by mosaics.
Even the like hentai has those little black bars over
like
only specific parts, like it'll be like a drawing of a penis or something, and they'll have like a tiny black bar over like 2 parts of the penis as opposed to the whole thing, which is funny.
There's a television series on Netflix which I really recommend called The Naked Director, Zenra Kantoku, which is a 2-series drama, and it's about the guy who was basically the king of porn in Japan, and it's a dramatization, and that kind of goes into that, how the mosaics started off quite big and got smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller down until they could just push the boundaries of what the law would contain.
Well, that explains.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. But Japan is very strict with its laws surrounding nudity and so on. So, I mean, any type of public nudity, like of below the waist genitalia, would need to be censored, I suppose.
Yeah, the investigation came as a result of the mayor, who was Ryo Tanaka, who filed a complaint.
The mayor of Tokyo?
Yeah.
That's like... The mayor of Tokyo is like... It's like the mayor of London, or the mayor of New York. Like, that's like a serious fucking person. That's not like Bob, whose side business is being the mayor. It's like... That's like a serious political figure weighing in on this.
Yeah, well, he filed a complaint to police after residents complained of the event. Initially, the police let the event go ahead despite the complaints because there is apparently no law against cannibalism in Japan. But it was the indecent exposure that they got him on. So Sugiyama later explained that the event was hosted to raise awareness about sexual minorities, cross-gender and asexual people, and nor he nor any of the organisers involved denied that the event happened.
That'd be a bit difficult. Pictures there of his fried balls.
Oh, they didn't deny it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay,
I'd say it would be a
difficult.
bit difficult to know.
Well, actually, all of these pictures were on the event planner's blog, and that blog post is gone. You can't even access it via like the Wayback Machine or something. I found
scrubbed.
I found a copied, pasted kind of transcript, and then the pictures I think came from a Chinese website. So there's little like relics of it that you can discover online, but it's quite hard to find information on it.
That's ironic that it's been scrubbed everywhere but the Chinese internet.
Do you want to see Sugiyama?
Yeah, let's go on. Let's have a look at it.
I do have to give you a heads up here. There's a close-up of him cutting the penis.
Oh, okay. That's all right, I think. Okay, so Sugiyama looks a bit more normal than I actually expected. I guess I was thinking about his white tattoos and so on, which obviously he doesn't have. He looks like a fairly normal sort of early 20s bloke, to be honest. He's wearing...
In 2012, I would say. He's on this style.
He's wearing a black cap. He's got dyed blonde hair, and he's wearing a sort of hoodie that's going on. And then the second picture, his arm has got a kind of frilly chef's costume on, and he's currently in the process of cutting up his severed penis into smaller pieces.
I wonder how that would feel. You know, to look down at your own severed genitalia and to be cutting into it.
Do you think he'd get phantom pain?
It doesn't look like he had any phantom pain.
No.
That thing was not a part of him.
That idea, just go off a tangent for a second, I love the idea of phantom pain.
Yes.
Like, if anybody doesn't know, it's when you get a limb severed of any size, finger, arm, wang, and you can feel it twitching. You can feel it when it's not there. And it's the body and the brain processing that it's no longer there. But there's been cases where people have had limbs amputated and years later, they still feel like it's there. Just love that idea. That's
such an interesting topic. Like it just makes you wonder, like, if you can feel pain that isn't there, what else can you allegedly be perceiving that might not be there too? But Chris, have you ever heard of any stories like this where someone has, ate their own body parts?
I don't know about eating their own body parts. I've heard of stories of people who have advertised other people to be eaten on the internet. Like, I think there was a German guy who advertised on the internet that he wanted somebody to eat, and somebody responded back
Yes,
to him.
Exactly. But that kind of ended up being a murder, really, or at the very least an assisted suicide.
Yeah, and there was another Japanese guy who, I think we discussed this very briefly on another episode, who killed and ate a student, but it was kind of a suicide kill. Anyway, this guy, who happened in another country, he moved back to Japan, and then he ended up becoming a sort of minor celebrity as a food critic.
Yeah, he killed a fellow student in Paris, I think, and she might have been Belgian or Dutch.
Yeah, that's it.
He just shot her in.
Yeah.
There is a case, just to finish off this episode here, there is a case more closer to home, around a similar time period, strangely. A year after Sugiyama served his penis and testicles, a man named Dave Playpens, which I guess is a internet name. Sounds like an internet name. It's MySpace name. This was 2013, so... From Colchester, England, partook in a spot of auto-cannibalism himself. So Playpens had to get his pinky finger amputated following a motorcycle accident, and he asked doctors if he could take it home with him. They allowed it, so realising an opportunity to finally know the taste of human flesh without having to harm another living person, Playpens cooked and ate his own amputated finger, posting the process to Facebook. And he said in a magazine about the motivation to do it later, he said, "I know it sounds mad, but it wasn't just the curiosity. That finger was a big bit of me. Too big a bit to lose. I decided that if I ate the flesh and kept the bones, then I wouldn't be losing part of me."
That's the sweetest way I've heard auto-cannibalism described. But yeah, I mean, I suppose, yeah, if you're gonna partake, you might as well do it yourself, and you're not harming anybody else. But I wouldn't be advocating self-harm in order to do this. I suppose this is the best of situations where he kind of got his...
Would you do it? If you had an accident and lost a little pinky finger, would you?
You know what I would do?
Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord.
Because we're such good friends.
Would you give me it?
I'd let you eat my pinky.
Is that what you call it?
I'd even cook it for you. I might hire out the local O2 Academy.
Yes.
And
it's just me in the middle.
So you're in the middle.
I'm the one VIP diner, and then all of your friends and family are like around just to watch me. And I offer it to the person next to me and ruin their life psychologically.
I don't know if I actually would, I think I'm all right not knowing what the taste of human flesh would be, and I'm going to assume it'd be ultimately quite disappointing anyway. You
wouldn't just do it for the, I'm technically a cannibalism kind of flex.
Not really. I mean, it's a pretty fucked up flex to bring out. I mean, imagine you're at a party and someone's like, yeah, I like to surf, and someone else is like, wow, I got to admit, I'm into like BDSM, and then someone else is like, oh yeah, I'm a fucking cannibal, man.
He's got no pinky.
Yeah.
Everyone's scared of him for the rest of their lives.
And he's not a member of the Yakuza.
Oh yeah. That could be kind of a cool, if you have to lose something, pinky's not too bad.
It isn't. Although, do you know why they lose the pinky in the Yakuza?
I think I do know, but I've forgotten.
So it's not the whole at first. It's up to the first joint on the knuckle, and then so on and so on and so on. It's because every joint that you lose on the hand, you become less strong holding a sword. So it dates back to
it's
samurai
hard to make
days.
a fist. Oh yeah.
So the strongest finger when you're holding a sword is actually your pinky. That's what's anchoring everything down. So you're kind of...
And a gun, I guess.
Well, a gun as well, yeah. So you are, by self-mutilating yourself, you are actively making yourself weaker in order to apologise for whatever it is you've done.
Hardcore. Mm-hmm. And on that note, I hope you enjoyed the story of Mao
Sugiyama. Wait.
Uh-oh.
You don't get to ask me that question. I don't get to ask you the question back. Hold on. Mm-hmm. Linz, if you were in a situation where you had to have your finger amputated, for example, would you chow down on your digit?
Yeah.
You would?
Yeah. And I'd keep, the bone, look at mine.
Yeah.
That would be... Actually, I would just try and preserve it as, a wet specimen in a jar. Yeah, because that way, everyone can enjoy it. There's not much on a pinky, so it would just be me having a bit going oh, yeah, human flesh is terribly disappointing, right? But if I, keep it and preserve it, it's like a wet specimen.
Can you stop using that word?
Wet specimen.
Technically...
What's wrong with a wet specimen now and again?
Technically, everybody's eaten a bit of dead skin or something at some point.
That is auto-cannibalism.
Yeah, so is that technically
cannibalism? Yeah, it is. It actually is.
Because it tastes like shit.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of... It's dead, I guess.
And is there such a thing as, is there a way to eat nails and hair and things that, obviously if you remove them from your body or, you trim from your body, it won't hurt you, or it shouldn't do.
Well, it's dead, yeah.
Yeah.
If your hair had nerves, that would be horrible.
It would be.
And imagine getting a haircut. You just have long skin that would grow forever.
Yeah, just matted.
Horrible.
But yeah, I just wonder if I can't imagine nails would be nice to eat, but I don't know if you boiled them down, if they could become...
It's just keratin, isn't it? It's people eat rhino horns and things for magical properties that they don't have. And it's just basically eating a giant nail.
It's the same again, isn't it? It's all about the horns. So right, well, thank you very much for that.
You're welcome. I can see you enjoyed it. And honestly, I love, I will forever remember your face the first time you're describing the picture before you knew, and then your face after when you did know what you were looking at. That is just beautiful. Yeah, I'm glad I've inflicted you.
I had an inkling, but I thought, no, I'm gonna believe in the power of good.
Did you? You had an inkling that it would be...
I had an inkling that it would be human flesh of some sort. I didn't realise it was going to be genitalia, but I thought, what meat could be so wrong to talk about that we would be talking about it here? Yeah. And it was either going to be that or I don't know, a cat or dog or something that in our culture over here we think, oh no, you couldn't possibly eat that.
I thought you were going to guess something like, have you seen that? It's like these kits where you can grow beef or meat from your own cells.
Oh, I suppose so. Oh, did you see that article the other week where there's a guy who's 3D printing vegan meat?
No, but I've heard like stories like this, like, oh, the future of meat and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, what? That's an actual thing?
Apparently so. Is that there is a way to 3D print meat, and obviously when it's 3D printed, it is...
Oh, but it's a meat. It's like from cells.
I don't know, but I think it was described as vegan meat, so it's not actually meat, but it's like, like tofu-based meat or something along those lines.
But then why wouldn't you just
I know.
buy some tofu? That seems stupid.
Like, how do you...
I'm sure we're missing the point of this
Is
story.
it beneficial? Like, does it have nutrients? Like... No, but if it's just like...
But you still have
faking.
to slam the ingredients into it. It's like with the meat that you grow in the lab. Like, it's from... Obviously, the cells of... Chris is just partaking in an act of auto-cannibalism as I'm talking
Got a bit
here.
of risk in here. It's,
No! Oh, why does it feel so much more gross now?
Tastes like salty chicken.
So I hope everyone enjoyed this episode of Dystopian Simulation Radio.
Thank you so much for listening, everybody. Please...
Give us a message of the weirdest meat that you've ever eaten.
Yeah, what is the weirdest meat that you've actually physically eaten?
Describe it to us in the DMs or comments or
a better description than salty chicken or wet chicken.
Wet chicken. Nobody said wet chicken. You've just said that now, and it's awful, to be honest with you. Wet chicken.
Wet samples any better.
Wet specimen.
Wet specimen.
Wet
We're
sample.
Fine. Let's just end
Nobody
this
wants
right
your
now.
wet samples.
Oh, you're a family. So please give us a follow at d.s.radio on Instagram. Drop us a message. Let us know about the meat that you've eaten that's unusual. If you're particularly happy with this horrible, horrible episode, feel free to go over to our tip jar. You can find it through the link tree that is in the description on Instagram, and you can drop us in the price of a coffee like Lucas did recently. He was very kind and dropped us in the price of an Australian coffee, which seems quite expensive.
Yeah, woohoo!
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thanks, and especially thanks to Lucas.
Bye.
Bye!